The night I saw LAMIDI's ghost, I knew I would never be the same again. They say once you've been touched by his evil, you can never escape. I was born and raised in a small village in Agbakin town, right under the rule of a wicked king. His name was LAMIDI, and he wasn't born to rule, he fought for it. The people never wanted him, but he took it anyway. It all started years ago. LAMIDI wasn't even from a royal family, but he was ruthless. The village elders didn't want him. They chose another man, someone from a well-known royal lineage, but LAMIDI wasn't having it. He went around spreading rumors, claiming the rightful heir was weak, unfit to lead, and could never protect the people. At first, no one took him seriously. But then, strange things started happening. People who spoke against him mysteriously went missing. I was just a child at the time, but I remember the day he finally made his move. The village elders gathered in the palace to discuss matters of succession. I didn't know much about what was going on, but I knew it was important. I sneaked through the back entrance of the palace to listen. The king was there, his face tight and filled with anger, talking about how the elders were too old to make decisions. His voice was cold, like he had already made up his mind. You either crown me, or your people will suffer, he threatened them. The elders begged him to leave, but LAMIDI wasn't going anywhere. He dragged the rightful heir away, publicly humiliating him. Then, before the whole village, he took the throne. From that day, things in the village changed. People were scared. Anyone who disagreed with him vanished, and the land began to suffer. Crops died, animals got sick, and even the sun seemed to burn hotter than it ever had before. People whispered about curses, but no one dared speak too loudly. They feared that LAMIDI would send his men to silence them. One night, I made the mistake of visiting a friend who lived near the palace. Her family had been outspoken against LAMIDI's rule, and I knew it was dangerous to even go there, but I didn't care. I wanted to see for myself what was really happening. I arrived at her house just before midnight. The air felt wrong, thick and heavy, like something was about to happen. My friend wasn't home, but her door was wide open, and I heard something strange coming from inside. I stepped in, and what I saw still haunts me. There, sitting on the floor of her darkened room, was her father. His face was twisted in terror, his hands trembling as he held a small, broken drum. His eyes were wide open, but he didn't seem to see me. He was murmuring something under his breath, his voice shaky. I walked closer, and that's when I saw it. On the wall, carved into the wood, was a strange symbol. It looked like a mixture of animal shapes and faces, and in the center, a dark figure, LAMIDI, his eyes staring at me. Run, her father whispered, his voice a weak rasp. He knows you're here. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me, and I heard a voice, a low, growling whisper. You shouldn't have come. I turned to see LAMIDI standing in the doorway. But it wasn't him, not the man I knew. His body was twisted, his eyes glowing an unnatural red. His mouth was wide open, showing rows of sharp teeth, and his skin looked almost like it was decaying. He grinned at me, a smile that sent chills down my spine. I didn't know what he was, but I knew he wasn't human anymore. It felt like the darkness of the land had consumed him, and now it was coming for me. I ran, not caring about anything but escaping. I could hear him laughing behind me, a sound so sinister that I thought it would chase me forever. The next morning, the villagers found me. I couldn't speak. I couldn't explain what happened. I just pointed at the symbol on the wall, and they knew. They had all heard the stories, how the king had made a deal with dark forces, and how he had sacrificed his own soul to gain power. But no one dared to challenge him. They said if you looked into his eyes, you'd be cursed forever. I left the village that day, never returning. They say the king still rose, but no one talks about him. Every now and then, when the wind blows just right, you can hear his laughter echoing through the streets. I don't care if you don't believe me. But remember this, if you ever find yourself in Agbakin town, and you hear the whispers of a ruler who wasn't meant to be king, stay away. Because once he notices you, it's too late. He'll come for you, and you'll never escape.